Okay, so I got about 10 minutes. I'll try to talk as fast as possible. Hi, everybody. Mike Wargo, LPL Financial. I guess I'll put it on there without upsetting my computer. I'm a financial advisor. In a couple of weeks, I'll be 27 years in the industry. Seen a lot of stuff, haven't seen everything. But what I wanted to do is to do just a basic presentation today. This is fortifying your financial future. There's two elderly couple, they're clients of mine. We love Mike Wargo so much. Maybe not. I think they're just models and actors. But I'm really excited. We have a special guest star today. I was like the youngest by far in my family. I think I was the oopsie. So I made friends with a lot of inanimate objects because I was a lonely kid. We have Uncle Sam here today. He's going to give us some tax advice, maybe some warnings if we make some tax mistakes. So everybody say hi to Uncle Sam. He'll audit you if you don't. Okay, so here we go. So I'm going to do a basic presentation today. This is fortifying your financial future. It's designed for, they say retirement strategies for 45 and older. I think that's ridiculous. It's for everybody. The earlier you get started in retirement, the more advantage you're going to have because you're going to have the time value of money. Let's move forward. Okay. So topics we'll be exploring. We're going to be strategy for building retirement savings. Can everybody see with me standing up, or would you like me to go on the ground? Is this good? Okay. Strategies for building retirement savings, balancing different financial goals, preparing your estate plan. The changing face of retirement. So retirement, as you know, it has rising costs, longer lifespans. We have great medical facilities here in the area. Monroeville, 2 hospitals. They saved my life a couple of times. So we're living longer. A lot of people with meds are living well into their 70s and 80s. More active lifestyles, changes the Social Security benefits. You're going to get cost of living adjustments. There's increasing demand on Social Security and what's going to happen in the future. Just like everything else, the baby boom generation's retired. They need to be supported. The younger generation is going to support them. Are you saving enough for retirement? The 2020 Retirement Confidence Survey shows that 69% of workers feel confident that they will have enough money to live comfortably in retirement. The thing is funny is this was taken in March of 2020. We all know what happened a month later. If they took that survey again, I don't know if they'd feel as confident. But people are feeling pretty good if they're saving enough for retirement. What's your savings goal? Just like any kind of goal, you want to write it down. If you want to run in a marathon, lose weight, I always try to do that, but not very successfully, but I still write it down. You want to have a goal as far as where you want to be for retirement. How much income will you need for retirement? How much will Social Security cover? The most important thing I could recommend is you're going to get a Social Security statement once a year. It comes by email from ssa.gov, or they may still send it in the mail. Look at that statement. It has every single year that you worked and what the income was. Mine goes back to SeaWorld in 1991. I'm making $4.25 an hour. It'll tell you 3 numbers. The number if you retire at 62, the number at full retirement age, and the number if you go to age 70. Obviously, the longer you wait, the more money Social Security will pay you. So it's important to do that because I found out in 1998, I made $0, and I didn't make $0 in 1998. So that's a bummer if the years weren't recorded correctly. Estimated Social Security benefits. So this is just a rough guesstimate. If you're making $50,000 a year, let's say 62, you hate your job, I want to get the hell out. That's the end of it. You get $1,045 if you claim Social Security. Hey, I like working. It's a lot of fun. I like my job. I'm going to keep going. If I go home, the wife's going to divorce me. I can't stand her or the husband, so I'm just going to stay in the office. If you go to 70, if you're making $50,000 a year, you see how much more you get. You get twice as much benefits, $2,029. If you put more money in the system, obviously, if you're making $100,000 a year, you hit age 7, you're getting $3,192. All right, let's move forward. Calculating inflation into your goal. Inflation has been pretty moderate up until this year. This year, inflation's about 8 to 9%. It's starting to settle down just a little bit, but we haven't seen inflation numbers like this since the 70s, when I was watching Good Times as a kid. Here's an example of savings into your goal. So you have $100,000 in today's dollars. In 20 years, it's just a 3% inflation rate. That's usually what it's been over time. It's obviously a lot higher right now. At a 3% inflation rate, it would be $180,000 in the future just to have your $100,000 today. So inflation is going to increase. What they're hoping is the Fed's raising interest rates. They're hoping that's going to mitigate inflation and slow the economy down. It's starting to happen in different places. That's why they're raising interest rates to fight that. How compounding can help. Now this is the base. If you take anything away from my presentation, This is the most important part. The power of compound interest. This shows you, if you just have a basic investment strategy, how much money you can have. Let's see here, $25,000. Let's say you start with $25,000. Maybe you win the lottery, get $25,000. You don't party it away. You start with $25,000. You invest $100 for 20 years. You're going to have $106,000 at the end of 20 years. Let's say you get an inheritance of $250,000 and you put $500 away a month for 20 years. That's a cheaper car payment these days. If you can stick with that, if you could just get compounding at 5% interest, $861,000. If you're really dedicated, let's say you get $500,000, maybe your parents leave you that money, you were nice to them, and then you put $1,000 away for 20 years, you're going to have $2 million. The most important thing I want to communicate today, a lot of people, especially when they get in their 50s, I haven't saved anything. Why should I do it now? Forget it. Well, you still have the power of compounding interest. If you've got 15 years to go, you put away $400 or $500 a month, you could have quite a nest egg to increase for your retirement. Let's move forward. Building your retirement nest egg. Now, this is where Uncle Sam's going to start talking. The power of IRAs, retirement plans, 401k plans is, Uncle Sam, tax deferral. Now, Uncle Sam is going to talk about tax deferral. What Uncle Sam does is he lets you put that money in an IRA. If you're in a regular brokerage account, you get taxed every single year on interest, on capital gains. Uncle Sam lets you put that money into an IRA. He'll let you grow a tax deferred, and he'll let you grow that. Now, the power of tax deferral versus the power of taxing is really a lot more. Let's say you have the exact same investment. Let's say I have an investment that's getting 6% a year. Let's say I'm in a regular brokerage account. You got year one. You got the that looks like orangey, that color, and blue. They're about the same after year one. After about year 10, the blue's starting to really run away from the I guess that's brown or orange, whatever that is. I guess I'm colorblind. But this shows you the power of tax deferral, growing that money moving forward. Selecting investments for your savings. So there are three things I'm going to ask you if you want to talk to me. What's your time horizon? When are you going to need this money? Your risk tolerance. I usually have a questionnaire. Questions like, if the account's down 50%, are you going to come after Mike Wargo with a weapon? Or are you going to listen to what Mike Wargo said, hold on, buy more, stay calm? Risk tolerance and your investment goals. Obviously, if you're working, if you're younger, you want growth. As you get older, you want to move toward income and bonds. Major asset classes. We got stocks, we got bonds, we got cash equivalents. Obviously, stocks are higher on the risk spectrum. Obviously, the market's not doing very well this year. We did have a nice summer rally, but now we're back down. The S&P is down about 15-16%. Bonds, it's been a double whammy this year because when interest rates go higher, which they've been doing because the Fed's raising interest rates, when interest rates go up, bond prices tend to go down. A lot of seniors and retirees were told, this is the most famous 5 words I hear, I thought bonds were safe. That's what they hear when they get their statement. Bonds are getting hit. And then if you want to have zero risk to low risk, you do money market instruments. What's the returns on money markets? 1%. So, we're trying to keep up with inflation. That's not going to accomplish that. Measuring potential risks and returns. This is a great chart. This is for 1926. 1926, if you had invested in small stocks to all the way up to 2016, you'd have an average 12% return. Large stocks, you'd have a 10% return. Government bonds, 5.6%. Treasury bills, 3.4%. Now, inflation's at 8% right now. But since 1920, and this is up to 2016, so the data is not up to date, inflation has been around 2.9%. Staying ahead of inflation, just like we talked about, $1,000 today in 10 years would be worth only $676. In 20 years, it'll be only worth $456. In 30 years, $308. In 40 years, $208. I found an old newspaper when JFK got assassinated. I'm looking at the ads for the cars. Buy a brand new Lincoln Continental, $3,100. Get a house for $20,000. Balancing risks and timelines. So if you're younger, if you have a lot of time horizon, you can be more aggressive. 74% in growth in stocks, 18% in bonds, 7% in inflation-protected securities. They're typically like, there would be Treasury inflation-protected securities. If inflation goes higher, they can increase in value. Also, things that are inflation-resistant, like precious metals, things like that. Balancing risks and timelines, moderate growth. So you have moderate growth would be a little bit less on the stocks, 58%, inflation 31%, bonds 31%, inflation protected securities at 9%. And if you want to get conservative, this is if you're getting near retirement. If it goes down about 50%, basically it could really take a hit to your retirement. Where you're looking at balancing risks and timelines, basically this would be more conservative. Review your allocations regularly. So if you have a financial advisor that opened up an account with you, never called you again, I don't think that's acceptable. You may want to have somebody to call you on a regular basis. Leaving jobs, weigh your options. Now this is where Uncle Sam wants to talk. We're going to set the alarm because this is important. If you leave your job and you can roll your 401k over to an IRA, that's acceptable. You can go to a new employer's plan, that's acceptable. This is what you don't want to do, and I highly don't recommend it. Take a lump sum distribution. Why is that, Uncle Sam? If you're under 59 and a half, you'll get penalized 10% in tax ordinary income. But I like to make the money, so do it if you want. But Uncle Sam had a war. See, I turned that on. Is that okay? Yeah. So he wants to be down there with his alarm. Okay, so that's Uncle Sam's first warning. So it is important. If you take out money before 59 and a half in a retirement plan, he made a deal with you. He'll let you grow that money tax deferred. You take that money out, you're going to get penalized, and you're also going to have to pay ordinary income tax. So unless you absolutely have to as an emergency, keep it in there. Balancing multiple financial goals, children's college, we got 529 plans, insurance policies, retirement, supporting aging parents. The impacts of finance on caregivers, less flexibility, fewer job options, reduced pension, Social Security benefits, less money to invest, out-of-pocket expenses. Estate planning, preparing for the inevitable, last will and testament, trusts, insurance policies. So you want to have insurance to take care of any kind of estate taxes you might be subject to. Also, long-term care is a big deal. Something should happen to you. Everybody does this plan and they think they do everything right. If, God forbid, you're in a facility for a long time in a nursing home, Medicare only pays for so much. After so many days, they're responsible for the long-term care can suck all that money out of your investments, and the long-term care policy can cover that. Let's go move forward. Estate tax is what's changed. The exemption increased in 2018. It's millions of dollars. Most people don't have to worry about that. Excuse me. The estate tax exemption will revert to its former level in 2026. Put your retirement action at work. Establish your timeline and savings goals. Make regular contributions to your retirement accounts. Invest your savings to outpace inflation. If you're older than 50, make additional contributions, Uncle Sam. You can make, I believe, it's $7,000 now if you're over 50 going into an IRA. Also, you want to look at a Roth IRA. Who knows what the national debt's going to be 20 years from now? I'm 50. When I hit 65, I'm worried that my tax rate might go to 60, 70%. A Roth IRA, you can take that money out tax-free. Work with a trusted financial professional. Save your goals and timelines and put your plans to work. Now, Uncle Sam has one more message. I'm done with the presentation. Uncle Sam has one more message. Do I really have to tell them? Yeah. Here's Uncle Sam. All of you have had a party on my watch for years. Writing write-offs you're not supposed to, business expenses. Do you really think getting drunk with your friends on a Friday night was a legitimate business deduction? I'd like to see your 50 dependents that you claim on your tax return. I'd like to take a picture with my FBI friends. Interesting home office. It has a mirrored ceiling. It has a waterbed. It has a bar. Doesn't look like a home office daycare facility to me. All of you be warned. The Inflation Act was passed. I have 87,000 new soldiers coming after you. Uncle Sam. Okay, Uncle Sam. That's it. Any questions? Any questions?
No, I just gotta say this is amazing.
I know, right?
I lost my voice in the middle of it. I'm doing a speech. I'm preparing for another speech, and I've been practicing too much. But yeah, any questions? If you have any questions, if you have an advisor that hasn't called you, you got money sitting around. If you're worried about what the market's going to do, I'd love to talk to you. We can do a financial review. I'll put it in my Morningstar system, and I'll give you my 2 cents.
Thanks. Great job, Mike.
Very good.
All right, I have one more thank you. I was